Justin Ishbia, and his brother Matt owns the Phoenix Suns, and Justin's a partial owner of the Suns. They definitely represent hope to Twins fans.
Here we go. Dan Hayes joining us from The Athletic, covering the Minnesota Twins. We're going to jump into their storylines because this team could get taken over by a billionaire who actually gives a crap about baseball and winning. So stay tuned. We'll ask Dan about that. A redemption season, or could a slow start lead to a manager change or some other type of change with this ball club? The usual health questions: Correa, Buxton, Lewis, how they doing? And the baby bats. I mean, this team's got a good farm system. So Dan, let's start at the top. This team could get dealt by opening day, and by dealt I mean to an owner who actually gives a crap. I'm sure Twins fans are following this story closely, and you've been all over it. So where are we at? And do you think it will change the complexion of this franchise if they land with an owner who is not obsessed with saying the word revenue or portfolio?
Yeah, look, this is the story for the Twins this offseason. I mean, it's been 40 years of the same ownership, and they won 2 World Series early on. They did spend on payroll a couple of times. When Target Field opened, I think they were 9th and 10th in payroll, and fans came out. I mean, there were 3 million fans in those first 2 years of Target Field. There was 3 million fans after it was either the first World Series or the second World Series. But payroll has never been a good thing for the Twins. Usually it's 17th, 18th. It's been bottom of the barrel at the start of the 2000s. So that could change everything. Absolutely. And, I think it's something that fans are optimistic about, but also look, I covered the Padres when they sold in 2009, and John Morris was going through a divorce at the time and had to sell, and Jeff Morad came in, and, a year later, Jed Hoyer, I still remember, was on the dais at Indianapolis just looking pale because he had to trade Adrian Gonzalez to the Red Sox, because the team with the $38 million payroll had to slash even more and couldn't afford to sign Adrian Gonzalez to a long-term contract. So you never really know what you're going to get. Now, this is hopeful because, look, you look at the market, and there haven't been a lot of Major League Baseball teams for sale in the last 15 years. I think since the Dodgers sold and the Padres back in 2012, I think there have been 5 total. And the Orioles were sold 4 days after Peter Angelos died, and that was a quiet deal. It's not like they were out on the open market. I don't think that Kansas City was really out on the market. So you're looking at the Mets, you're looking at the Marlins, and the Mariners was even within their own ownership structure. I think somebody stepped up and bought more. So it's not like there's been an open bidding. And when you have 30 of these products, people are interested in buying. So I think there's hope in that. The name that I've reported and that's been out there is Justin Ishbia, and his brother Matt owns the Phoenix Suns, and Justin's a partial owner of the Suns. They own a minor league baseball team. They own soccer. They definitely represent hope to Twins fans, because I think he's a huge baseball fan. We've written at The Athletic about his donations to Michigan State and his thoughts on baseball, and I think that you want someone that's a fan in there, and you want someone that knows. And I think Scott Boras said this at the GM meetings. You want someone that knows that they're no longer anonymous. They have winner or loser attached to their name once they buy a franchise, and you never know what you're going to get. You could get John Fisher, you could get Bob Nutting, or you could get Steve Cohen. So like somewhere in between, Twins fans would be thrilled if someone came in and wanted to spend $20 million on the payroll and cut beer prices by $1 or whatever. And, I think there's room for hope for Twins fans. And I do think that we will see someone picked by opening day. What the structure looks like as far as baseball proving that's a good question, because it takes obviously time to get the approval of the owners. But I would think that the vetting is pretty thorough right now of the groups that are going forward.
2 things, Dan, real quick before we get to the next one. One, the White Sox people, the fans, they want them to buy the White Sox because I think they're a small owner in the White Sox already. So forget the Twins. The White Sox want those guys to buy their team. And second of all, Deus. I never heard the word Deus in my life until we went to the BBWAA awards. And like every guy, and I'm like, what the hell is a Deus? What are they talking about? I'm missing a word here. And then you just drop Deus. That's definitely the first time that word's ever been dropped. So that's it. I'll let Kratz go to the next storyline now.
I think that's the first time I've ever used that word, by the way. So you got a gem there.
Me too. Me too.
Well done. Well done. AJ used it like 4 times, so now he's done for like the rest of his life. No, I'm going to go to the fact that you were just talking about how like this really is hinging on payroll and ownership selling or not selling. So would it be fair because this team, I mean, is in the American League Central where 3 teams made the playoffs? They were on the outside looking in. Is this Rocco Baldelli's, like, if it starts slow, could he be on the trading block? Or, I mean, on the cutting block here?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I will say that Derek Falvey, to no end, talks about the great partnership that they have. So I would put it less likely, but you never know. I mean, look, last year was terrible. The end of the season was not good, and you were going to have a new ownership group come in. So that puts anything on the table, I think, because a new owner gets to say what they want, and so who knows what the foundation of the Twins looks like from a front office standpoint, from a field staff standpoint in a year. I mean, but winning is a cure-all, and it's crazy. This team has done nothing this offseason, and you can understand for the most part the limitations. They have still a little bit of money to spend. I'm told they have a little bit of wiggle room, maybe $5 million. There's no cutting of the payroll this year. They need to do something still. They need to round out the roster a little bit. The bullpen is outstanding, but there still could be some minor adds there. I think they need adds in the outfield. They need to do more, even though they're projected on paper to win 88 games right now. Because, yeah, you're right. A slow start could do them in, but last year I think they started 7-13. And one thing that Rocco did a great job, they were down Royce Lewis at that point. They were down Carlos Correa, was keeping them together, and they rolled off that, winning streak and got back into competition. And then they had the hideous end to the season, and it's hard to erase that. And who knows if they came out and went 20-40. There's still a fair amount of money for the Twins payroll wise to be invested, and it could lead to a change.
That would be shocking. That would
I think yeah,
it would be shocking just because of the way what Rocco's done, the way they talk about Rocco, and so
yeah.
But let's
just to reemphasize. I mean, I think they were down Buxton, they were down Correa when they fell apart last year. The minute Joe Ryan went down, you had 2 starters with the ability to go 5. I mean, they were so up against. They did a good job getting through what they could, but that offense quit at one point in September. And Rocco doing the part where he said that it was an unprofessional series, that was eye-opening. And so it was a lot of chaos going on because of stuff, because they didn't have depth. And again, it didn't come off well externally. Fans were upset, but I agree because Derek Falvey has mentioned so many times how much of a partnership he has with Rocco that it would take something really egregious or just a big kind of maybe disappointment to see them moving.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned it a little bit, the injuries. Can they keep Carlos Correa? Can they keep Byron Buxton? Can they keep Royce Lewis? Can they keep some of the pitchers healthy in order to get to their number of 88? That's the biggest question for me is,
right.
Yes, they haven't spent, but the guys they have here, can they keep them healthy? What do you think the games played of these guys are, and how healthy can they be?
Yeah, Buxton getting to 100 games last year was encouraging. I know they're excited because this is the first healthy offseason he's had since the 2018-2019. And I remember at that point he had an injury-riddled 2018, and he really was fine going into the offseason and was doing like 2-a-days and hitting all day. And it's really when Byron Buxton took off offensively to the kind of hitter that he's become the last couple of years. So they're pumped about that, but the injury history suggests there's always something right around the corner with him. Carlos Correa looked really in shape. We talked to him at Twins Fest last weekend. He looked, like he's ready to go, and he talked about it. I think, it's funny, he's going to have to do the treatment at all times on the heels or the plantar fasciitis on both feet. But I think he feels a lot more prepared for that after the 2 years of going through it. It's just that's hard to escape. I mean, it's something that sticks around once you get it. And I he's doing this shock wave therapy on the right foot that he said last year was so painful that it would make him tear up when he was taking it. So, but he's in much better place now because of where the feet are. So how do they manage that? That'll be interesting. They're going to need someone to step in at times at shortstop. Royce Lewis, the end of the season, he kind of figured out a new routine. They talked about it, that he changed things mid-year after he came back from the devastating quad injury on opening day. That ends, I think he played 58 of 61 games at the end of the season. That's the longest he stayed on the major league field at any time. I think they're hopeful that that's the trend, but he's blown out his knee twice. He has a quad injury. He's definitely, had tricky little injuries here and there over his time in the majors. So the fact that you're built around those three, it leads to concerns. You need depth. That's why some of these young guys are going to have to come through. The Brooks Lees, the Edward Julians, the Jose Mirandas, guys like that. And it's why Willie Castro remains valuable to them, is because they can put him in at shortstop for 20 games if Carlos Correa goes on the IL. And it's something that they need more of. They need outfield depth right now. The outfield's pretty thin. I think if you looked at it right now, Willie Castro is probably their fourth outfielder. He's really sort of your backup at every position with the exception of catcher. And they've talked about maybe even putting him at first base and knowing he could handle it. And it wouldn't shock me at all. But, pitching wise, Bailey Ober previously, he's been healthy the last couple of years and has done really well. He had previous injury history that they helped him manage his way through. Joe Ryan, the groin got him in 2023. Last year he had the forearm injury, or that's challenging. But he came in sounding like he's feeling really good. He said that before he got to camp, he wanted to be hitting 90 on the gun, and in his first bullpen session, his first pitch was like 89.5, and so he feels really good. Where they've said that there's the MRIs have showed that he's cleared. He's never really been an injury history guy, so at the top you got those three guys, but it's then you're looking at Chris Paddock and Simeon Woods Richardson, David Festa. You've got some questions at the back end of the rotation, but Paddock thinks he's going to be healthy and good to go. He just didn't return at the end of last year, and the key for them would be not have to push him the way they did last year. Anthony DeSclafani's injury in spring training meant that Chris Paddock was full go from the start, coming off of his second Tommy John, and that was not a great spot to be in for them.
The storylines we cover for 2025 are there. It's something that someone could see weeks from now, and it's probably going to stay stable. So I want to know if you think we're going to have to redo them because the Twins would suddenly do something crazy like a Dylan Cease move. I read your article. It was great. Can you give us more context on why you think it probably won't happen?
Yeah, I think it won't happen, because I think, is anybody convinced that AJ Preller really wants to do it? Because how does he truly improve the Padres by getting rid of Dylan Cease? That's still a team. I know they have everything going on right now with their ownership situation, and there's rumors about needing to cut payroll, but Dylan Cease taking them off the Padres gives them far less of a chance to compete. And if he can capitalize and get 3 or 4 guys to fill out all the holes they have, then yeah, okay, that makes sense. Do the Twins really want to pay that premium for 1 year? This is a team that knows that their prospects are how they're going to stay alive, how they're going to be afloat for years while they deal with, being a mid-market team on the bottom of that midsection. I think they're 17th in market size, and usually they're 17th, 18th, or 19th in payroll. So it's always prospects and young guys that keep them afloat, so they can sign around the edges. And it's tough. I could never see them trading Walker Jenkins or Emmanuel Rodriguez or Luke Keeschel for 1 year of Dylan Cease. And I think, AJ Preller probably wants to really reload. Look at what Corbin Burns brought the Brewers last year. They got 2 guys that were formerly top 100 prospects and a comp pick. Obviously that part that Dylan Cease, if he got traded before the season started, would bring whatever team the qualifying offer, the compensation pick for the qualifying offer next year. That definitely complicates matters. But, I imagine AJ Preller is aiming high to fill those shoes if he was to move on. And what does that mean? And I think it would be he wants major league talent. So I think it'd be really difficult to remove a couple of major leaguers from the Twins unless they let them do what they want. And, I just don't know that it matches up, but it's absolutely something I think the Twins need to do, just because they need to find a way to recapture this fan base.
Dan, last one, because we're pushing against a break here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to phrase it this way to get to it quicker. So prospects, give me the guy that is going to make an impact of the bigger names this year. So we got like 30-ish seconds, but give me the one name on our way out here.
If he can stay healthy, Emmanuel Rodriguez. That's my guess. Just because he's at AAA already, outfield is probably where they have their most holes. I think he can make if he was hitting a ton at AAA and staying healthy, he can be up here pretty quick.
There you go. Okay. Circle the name. Of course, we do a Baseball America hot sheet show as well, but make sure you check out Dan's work in The Athletic.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.